You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Before we spin the wheel again, we need to add a couple of categories onto it, a couple of topics. We've got already the Jimmy Butler at the U.S. Open with the ball kids. We've got Sandy Alcantara versus a water cooler. I wanted to add to Reggie Bush versus the NCAA, which is an interesting talker. And the ACC is back, baby. So we'll throw those. We will throw those on the wheel. Why don't you give it a spin, Lucy?
ACC.
Hasn't stopped yet.
Well, they're back. Well, they're not. It was a really good effort by me.
The wheels just got, the pies are very like large
It
slices.
was like the
so
Wheel
you
of
can
Fortune
kinda
thing where it
tell,
looked like it was going to go to the next thing, but it stayed. So
Yeah,
you're good.
no, that was definitely accurate. And the ACC is not back. I don't want to go as far as saying that, but a few weeks ago we talked about how Stanford, Cal, and SMU were looking at joining the ACC, and those talks fell apart. They're back on, and it's looking like it's a thing that's really going to happen now, which is so
Cal,
stupid.
and SMU?
Yeah, as in two teams located in California, one in Dallas in the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's going to happen because the ACC has basically found a way to add a bunch of revenue without spending any money, because SMU is coming in saying you don't have to pay us our conference payout for 7 years. SMU is playing for free for 7 years. And then Cal and Stanford are taking a 30% chunk instead of the full, 100% of what they would be paid.
Just desperate to be part of a conference.
They're so desperate to be a part of a Power 5 conference. And that leftover money that's not going to SMU, Cal, Stanford is going to be split among the remaining ACC schools, which will most likely be incentive-based, which most likely means it's going to go to schools that are really good at football, a.k.a. Florida State and Clemson, so that they do not leave.
And right, so it's going to keep them from having a wandering eye because they're getting extra money from these other teams, and those other teams from the Pac-12 and SMU aren't just left dangling in the wind.
Well, it's going to try to.
What's going to keep them there is how punitive the release clauses are. But a lot of this saber rattling, particularly from how public FSU has been in terms of putting it out there that they're seeking private equity to the tune of $500 million. It's impossible to raise that much money for these schools. For SMU could probably do it, but it's funny. They're going to be in the conference for 7 years, and by year 3, they're going to try to buy themselves out of a deal that they haven't seen any revenue for. I don't know what it is about this conference that makes schools sign bad deals. That's a terrible deal for SMU. But I think right now what you're seeing in the play out in the public eye is we're still working with our attorneys, finding ways to sue our way out of this bad deal. But in the meantime, we're going to get more money, because we are the draw. And that's what Florida State is looking for, a bigger chunk of the revenue share. That's what Miami's looking for. That's what Clemson is looking for, too. Those are the headliners, and rightfully so. The recent enough national champions in the sport, FSU and Clemson. Keep in mind that they're about half of this contingent with Miami and UNC that is really...
NC State, too. Don't forget them. They snuck their way in there.
Which is really pushing this agenda forward, which is, hey, we are not happy with this terrible deal. And I think all of this restructuring college football, and correct me if you think differently, it's just a placeholder.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be even messier and crazier 5 years from now.
I think we're going to get to a spot where it's just the Big Ten and the SEC. It's going to be the Fox Conference and the ESPN Conference, and then those conferences will... Oh, yeah, pretty much. They're going to break up into little divisions that look more like the conferences we are used to seeing. That's going to be more geographic.
So it won't be regional conferences. It will have nothing to do with geography, just have everything to do with television rights. And it will be the ESPN side and the other side.
Well, that's the appeal.
We're already at that point.
But that's the appeal in bringing in Stanford, Cal, and SMU, in that these aren't huge football programs, especially, and football is the reason why they're making all of these moves, but they are massive media markets. You open up the Bay Area and you open up the Dallas metropolitan area, that is huge for a deal that's already set in stone, though. It's bad. It does bring in more revenue, because they're in these bigger media markets. So maybe it satiates programs like FSU, Clemson, Miami, NC State, and North Carolina, but it does not stop them from exploring their options to leave.
Only if they call it the.
No, they should explore their options to leave. Like, even if Stanford and Cal are there, it really doesn't add much. They should absolutely try to leave. It's just going to take a long time because that thing is set in stone. And something I think about with Stanford all the time, that if this had happened like 10 years ago, Stanford would be in the Big Ten right now.
Yes.
Like, no doubt. It's so wild just how much it's based off of football alone.
Recent form.
Yeah, which is shocking because Stanford is without a doubt the best athletic program in the country, and they cannot find a home.
Yes, it's only based on recent form, and that is also the social capital of being talked about. FSU is considered lead dog in this because FSU comes in with a hot preseason ranking coming off of an admittedly good year, but no foresight, no view on the ceiling. North Carolina is a diamond. If they are cooking correctly, people aren't projecting future success. Miami historically has proven they can get there. If Miami is good, all of a sudden they're the crown jewel of this package. I do find it odd how recent all this stuff is. Got to get Oregon in there. Got to get Oregon. In the history of college football, Oregon's success is fairly concentrated and fairly recent right now. And Oregon's taking precedent over schools like Cal and Stanford. If you view it through the prism of the history of college football, it seems rather absurd.
So I kind of want to continue painting this picture of what this is supposed to look like if it just becomes, effectively, like you said, Lucy, two conferences, right? Let's call them the ESPN conference and the Fox conference. So they're on different channels, right? Geographically doesn't really matter where they could be, right? And so one group largely plays each other, maybe occasionally plays the other side, and the other group plays each other, maybe occasionally plays the other side, and they sort of dwindle their way down to what, like maybe 12 teams in a playoff, and then they play each other. And in this situation, right, because of NIL, these players are all getting paid, and the better ones seem to get paid a little bit more than the other ones. It's the NFL.
It is.
It's the exact same thing, and we're just working our way to that.
And I also don't think you have enough foresight in calling it the ESPN and Fox conference, because by the time those conferences roll around, they'll be acquired by bigger corporations. This is going to come down to Blue Text versus Green Text conference. That's what it's going to be.
Androids versus Apple.
It's going to be Google versus Apple.
Roy, you feel like an underdog in this fight.
Because I am.
That's true.
Well, you're not allowed in the group chats that are talking about these conferences.
Man, it really sucks to be one of those Florida schools in a bad conference right now without any money. That sucks to be you.
I would take your victory lap, and I think the ACC should look around in total embarrassment in that the leadership there is non-existent. For Brett Yormark to just saunter into the room.
It's insane.
For Brett Yormark to saunter into this room, not knowing anything about college football, and kick the ass
It's unbelievable.
of the ACC is a huge indictment on everything. If you aren't frustrated already, if you aren't puzzled why only recently they decided to move their conference headquarters to a major city with an international airport, if you're confused by all of that, be confused by no thing greater than Brett Yormark, a Yormark, running into college football and kicking all your asses.
You're making his mark.
He's killing it.
Not this time.
Not as good as the Heron one.
What's going on with the Heron thing, by the way? Because I saw Juju posted highlights on social media. He did away with the flamingo emojis, but you typed out blue heron emoji.
I am a broken man.
No. Why blue heron?
I'm insecure. I am not confident in myself. Thank you for clarifying, but I need maybe a little therapy.
I was wondering where the blue came from.
Me too.
Did you not know their colors? They're famously pink.
Look, I told you, I'm discombobulated upon his shoes. That's the problem.
Oh, there it is.
My Inter Miami pink shoes.
I think you can still do the flamingo emoji. I was just providing some backstory that you weren't aware of. It's fine. They're players. They're players on the team that have the flamingo emoji in their bios.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
Yeah. I mean, we're not exactly back. Because blue heron was very confusing. I was like, is that the actual breed of heron? And I didn't know this the entire time?
I was trying my best.
It was not a bad try. Should we spin the wheel again or should we stay here? Because, look, this is a version of Mike that I don't really mind. Like, everybody else thinks he gets, like, obnoxious when he talks about UM and the ACC and all that. Like, I don't know about 3/4 of what the hell he just said, but I like the way he delivered it. And it makes me
Brett
feel like,
Yormark?
yeah, about all that
Yormark!
stuff. No, I get it. I know. I just didn't need to hear it louder. I do.
Actually,
He's trying to
this is a
sleep.
Yormark.
Whoa!
I'm doing my best to detach the Miami bias in this because it's something that's close to my heart. Like, leaving the ACC has been my life's work for the last 4 years, and I'm increasingly frustrated by this to the point that get out of here with Stanford and Cal and SMU. That does nothing for me.
Well,
that makes us look pathetic.
What's your ideal end game then for UM? Like, how does it play out
Big Ten.
perfectly for you?
Big Ten.
How
Big
soon?
Ten.
Let's go.
Big Ten. Big Ten. Big Ten. Get me out of here. Why did we sign this deal? And I understand every president approved this. And I'm mad at those people too. But it's a terrible deal. Vanderbilt is making $30 more million
So is
than the
Rutgers.
University of Miami. Vanderbilt.
Vandy.
Indiana, Rutgers, Purdue all make way more money than you.
What's going on with Rutgers? Because
They're
I
out
heard
of money, but they're still making money.
everyone is making money
Except for Rutgers.
except for Rutgers.
I don't know what really happened there. They just have not been able to spend their money from the Big Ten deal right, and it just hasn't worked out for them in any way, shape, or form. They're calling it the worst realignment move in college football history, which, yeah, no shit.
But
I mean,
they have a winning hand. They're in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They've messed it up so bad. Rutgers athletics are also pretty bad across the board. Like, everyone is bad.
It seems like they were just being carried by the conference. They had a moment, and then they just kind of got piggybacked with the conference.
It basically was just a ploy to get the New York market, which, like, I guess has been helpful in the long run. Of the Big Ten has gotten amazing TV deals, but outside of that, Rutgers really doesn't add any value, and they're like broke as hell.
Whatever conference we, the University of Miami, end up in, just please let it be the Blue Tex Conference.
Juju mentioned this earlier, and I really just want to get to the bottom of this. Can you lift up one of those shoes, Izzy? I want to see if this looks like Joe Rogan's nipples. Let's see here. Throw up the Rogan nipple picture. Can we do a little side-by-side ski here? I thought we were ready for this. All right, here we go.
Losing fans by the minute.
All right, here we go. All right, now a little side. There's one nipple. All right, now can I see the shoe? All right, no,
Give me the other
side-by-side.
one.
It's fine.
Give me the other one. Oh.
A couple nipples, cutting it up.
There we go. Yep.
It's
He was right.
uncanny.
Nailed it. Nipples on my feet like I'm Joe Rogan.
There you go, Mike.
That shirt is amazing, though. That shirt is tailored and coiffed perfectly to your to your shape.
So you'd rather me walk around barefoot with this outfit on, and it'll be more Miami than having Joe Rogan miss Piggy nipples.
Zagag.
Grid of death punishment. Hold Izzy's shoes like that for an entire show.
We'll attach these to your nipples, and it'll be the Joe Rogan.
What if I undid an extra button here and went completely
Lucy cannot
debagged?
participate.
Yeah, no thank you. Pass for me.
Lucy and Jesse can skip this punishment.
It's been a long week for Lucy.
I think I might go Joe Rogan for Halloween.
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Batard Show with Stugotz. U.S. Cellular knows how important your kids' relationship with technology is, and they've made it their mission to help them establish good digital habits early on. That's why they've partnered with Screen Sanity, a nonprofit dedicated to helping kids navigate the digital landscape. And for a smarter start to the school year, U.S. Cellular is offering a free basic phone on new eligible lines, providing an alternative to a smartphone for children. Start smarter with U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/builtforus to find out more. Terms apply.
Dan Batard.
Look out now! Just Jack White doing Elvis and Dewey Cox.
Stugotz.
She hits it out of the park.
Harry Carey is who that is?
It's Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey.
And Elvis occasionally. And
Look
then,
out now.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Some of you might have missed some sad news that broke, I think we're going on 2 weeks now. DJ Casper passed away, and while that name may not instantly ring a bell, the Cha-Cha Slide might. You've heard it at every wedding you've ever attended.
Not mine.
It is a... You didn't do the Cha-Cha Slide?
It was on my no playlist.
Really?
I respect that.
I mean, everyone likes the Cha-Cha Slide.
I mean, I was
Not
maybe
me.
I chose like one or two choreographed, like, tell me what to do dance songs. But
The wobble.
ones?
The wobble.
The wobble was one of them. It was not chosen by me. I forget what the other one was. To be
Electric
honest.
Slide?
No, we didn't have electric slide in my.
Everyone likes to say woogie, woogie, woogie.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Macarena?
Honestly, give me a second. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Soldier Boy?
Cupid Shuffle. The Cupid Shuffle.
Cupid Shuffle. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was Cupid Shuffle, unfortunately. I almost vetoed that one too, but I figure we have to have a couple.
Okay, but even if you haven't heard this at a wedding for whatever reason, or it's on your no playlist, if you go to a sporting event, everybody clap your hands.
Come on, y'all.
So one of the
How low can you go?
Yeah, it's a great dancing song. It usually reminds people of good times, but some people,
Sporting events, maybe, not at a wedding.
people feel passionately about it. And the artist behind that track passed away. And one of the things, after seeing that, I revisited the song. One of the things that always kind of stuck with me the last few times I heard it is it starts with, "This is the Casper Slide Part 2." And I was like, that's curious because it's not called the Casper Slide Part 2. It's called the Cupid Shuffle.
Right.
Is there a Casper Slide Part 1? Because if there is, like he's indicating, in terms of the pantheon of greatest sequels ever made, it's got to be top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
What is the Casper Slide Part 1? Can anyone provide an answer for me?
There is an answer to this if you'd like it, Mike.
Wow.
I would love to know. To me, this is one of life's great mysteries.
So it turns out that the original Cha-Cha Slide, the Casper Slide Part 1, was written for an aerobics routine for DJ Casper's nephew, who worked as a personal trainer at Bally's Total Fitness in 1998. He said he quickly received requests to perform the song at local parties and dance clubs, and thus in 2000, the Casper Slide Part 2, the Cha-Cha Slide, was born.
So it was a reimagining of the Cha-Cha Slide Part 1?
That's how it seems. So in this article from Variety, it says Casper, whose birth name was Willie Perry Jr., was born and raised in Chicago. The Cha-Cha Slide, originally released under the title Casper Slide Part 1, was made in 1998 for his personal trainer nephew's aerobics class. After the song gained traction in local fitness clubs, he released a new version in 2000.
That is actually a really interesting answer behind this one great mystery.
Metal Art Media, let's make our own aerobic song. ASAP, COB Carl.
Well, this is sort of like
you could run a point on that, Juju.
This is sort of like Planet of the Bass
You got the
right
socks and
now
the headband
becoming
for
so
it.
big, right? Like the reimagined 90s Eurovision song that's blowing up on TikTok, Planet of the Bass. It's sort of like that, where there's this song that I imagine there will be a follow-up to Planet of the Bass in the same sort of way, where, oh, this started as a joke, and now we'll release an even bigger song.
Can we go
So who
older,
knows?
though? Like, can we go 80s? Can we go, like, Richard Simmons, Olivia Newton-John, like, theme?
And just reimagine one of those?
I already got the shorts. He
I
knows
saw
it,
a
Juju.
story that someone put out there, the top 10 songs, the top 10 songs of the summer. Someone asked me the other day, what would you consider the song of the summer? Fox asked me this, and I was like, that one that's always behind the IG reels, Makeba.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa Barbie song.
Yeah.
Like, woo-wee! I would suggest that's the song of the summer.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Dua
because
Lipa
it's
Barbie.
Dua Lipa.
The Barbie song.
Dance the night away?
So
Yeah.
I, in doing this, I Googled like songs of the summer, and dude, I didn't recognize any of the artists outside of the artist sitting atop the list that I saw. And apparently Kylie Minogue has a massive hit out right now.
Damn.
I did not know this. Did
It's
you know
not
that?
it's not a replayed old hit. It's a brand new one, huh?
No. Like, let me find the name of this. But yeah, Kylie Minogue. Keep in mind, Kylie Minogue had a lot of hits before the one hit here. It was just hits abroad. She was a big star over in Europe and in
I've never heard
Australia.
of this person.
Kylie Minogue?
Never in my life.
Yes, you have.
Who's Kylie Minogue?
Cammy
Wow.
from Street Fighter, number 1. And number 2, Can't Get You Out of My Head. La, la, la. La 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 la.
Oh, man.
Get you out of my head.
That song is great. Not good.
That is a great song.
It's a classic. It's a
It's
classic.
on me for not knowing.
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to be like, dude.
No, that's
oh,
on
this
me.
is
No,
the
no,
greatest thing
no,
ever.
no.
That's
I'm
one of
gonna
the best
I'm gonna
songs ever.
immediately apologize publicly to everyone. I apologize to Kylie Minogue. I should have known who you were.
Songs of the summer. Why is it coming up? Sound of Freedom. I was also looking at Box Office Mojo because I'm very curious by the Barbenheimer effect and how it was great for the box office, but bad for movies that mistime their release. Primarily Mission Impossible, which is slated to lose $100 million at the box office. Indiana Jones, also a victim of poor timing and not being able to have adequate IMAX screens for it. That was Tom Cruise's big deal. He's like, how can you let Oppenheimer take all the IMAX screens?
What about Endless Summer? It's got summer in the title. It's got connection to Barbie, doesn't it? Oh, wait, no, it's just pink.
F You Mean by Gunner. I mean, you think he's a rat or not? Hey, that song is going.
Yeah, it is.
So, like, I I don't want to be so myopic in looking at the songs of the summer or the box office, because one of the things that I saw in the box office, the world box office, was Fast and Furious, whatever they're on. Is it X? Fast X? Relative disappointment here in the States. Still a humongous brand internationally. And I was like, why? So wait, there was an original Dungeons and Dragons? I didn't know this.
Yep.
But it's
Martin
because
Wayans.
it boomed internationally, and that was still the case for this recent sequel. If you look at the biggest movies in the box office of 2023, Sound of Freedom is cracking that top 10. And if you look at domestic versus global, their entire box office is domestic. Not a single dollar from abroad.
Why does Fast X sound like a laxative?
I think I had some Fast X this morning.
Oh yeah, I saw him.
That coffee is going
Lucy
right
Rodine, who was your favorite musical artist?
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Do you also hate Greta Van Fleet?
I don't hate Greta Van Fleet. I appreciate the fact that someone's kind of trying to keep that sound of music relevant. They're just flowery Led Zeppelin. Like that's what their music sounds like to me. I don't dislike it, but Led Zeppelin's always going to be my favorite.
I mean, it's very clearly derivative, very clearly a ripoff. Have you seen
Absolutely.
Robert Plant talking about Greta Van Fleet?
No.
Not a fan.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't be a fan because they're absolutely just copying the Led Zeppelin sound.
Yeah.
But me, rock and roll and disco are my two favorite music genres, and I don't really get a lot of that. So I'm happy to have any sort of new music to look forward to.
So today has a list of songs in the summer, and these are more recognizable. Number one being Morgan Wallen, who's dominated the charts since his controversy.
What's the controversy on Morgan Wallen?
Morgan Wallen called a group of people that he was familiar with the N-word, like he was caught on camera doing this.
Cancel
He
culture
uses
doesn't
that
exist.
word a lot.
I also heard he's not a fan of my people either. So
No.
He's become, there's, as Sound of Freedom has proved, as Donald Trump has proved, as Morgan Wallen has proved, there is a business. As Kid Rock has stayed relevant, there is a real tangible business model to just lift me up. The number one song in the country right now is that the Rich Men North of Richmond song with the Totally Unknown Artist. It's it's got it knows what its audience is, and it knows that its audience is going to prop it up.
But that side of the internet was getting very upset with the songwriter from Richmond, north of Richmond, because he dared to say that diversity was a good thing in an interview a couple days ago.
Right, they hijacked the narrative of his song, by the way. It's a great song.
It is a good song.
Really? Well, I
think
Morgan Wallen, who I've listened to some of his songs, some of them are good, and young people are entitled to make mistakes, even though this one seemed to have made it repeatedly. He apologized and whatever, we can get over it. But Morgan Wallen, I saw recently shaved his head.
Oh wow!
It
Don't
looks
do that.
so bad.
He shaved his head and shaved his face all at the exact same time.
Wrong
It looks
choice.
Oh, man.
Looks like Peter Sarsgaard playing like a villain role. And Morgan Wallen can't do that, because I know two things about Morgan Wallen, and he just shaved one of them.
Oh no!
So without the mullet, you're just the dude that said the N-word that one time.
and now you probably look like a guy who says it on the rigs.
Yeah, you can't. No guy should ever shave, and just ever. We have Dollar Shave Club. If you're gonna shave,
I haven't been clean shaven since high school.
If you're gonna shave, make sure it's a neckline. And Dollar Shave Club has wonderful utensils that you could use at your disposal to make sure you get that neckline perfect. But men, never shave.
Dollar Shave Club, give it to me, Chris. Well said.
What do you want me? Oh, my bad. What do you want me to hit? What do I do?
shave every day is what I'm trying to tell Dollar Shave Club. I also wanted to ask Juju.
Yeah, but you got the bone structure and body fat percentage to do it. I'm not talking about people like Izzy, who
normal
Izzy's
people
not
like
a
us.
real person. He was constructing it. That
Izzy is made out of velour.
That MFer there is not real. Like that is not a real. That's not how people are supposed to age. That's not how the male body is supposed to fill out over time.
Right.
I'm talking to you, Joe Public over here. Never shave.
He's also doing the thing in the poop chat that he just entered. Oh, we get it. You're really regular, Izzy. We get it. All right.
Well, is it weird that there's been a couple of times where I've been on the shitter and I'm just like, I'm supposed to announce this, but
You
it
put a poop
feels
emoji.
weird. It
Put a
just
poop
feels
emoji in
weird.
there.
I just don't want people to know exactly what I'm doing at the time.
Wow, we almost got all the way through Big Suey without talking about poop.
I know.
I've only gone once since Sunday.
That's not.
You
good.
okay?
Did you forget to chime in? Did you forget to report? You can late report.
I did say I think I went Tuesday, but it's been a rough week. I had a Sunday. There was like 4 of them in one day, so I cleared out.
That's Nashville.
Yeah.
Working its way through your slothy intestines.
Can you block a single person from a group chat? Because Amin gives way too many details.
A little too opinionated for your first week in the group chat. Just being honest.
Speaking of the N-word, that's nasty.
Juju,
slow play it a little bit.
How far along are we on getting me on another track? Getting me on a track with you.
Oh, we are so close. You don't even realize it. Because we had almost natural, real-life beef yesterday. And I love the beef. I love the smell of the aroma of someone arguing with me. It brings back the excitement in my life. Because I get very little arguing with the internet trolls. So refreshing.
So it would be like a diss track where we're both on the same track, just kind of...
Not dissing each other, but now I know you got something in you. You feel me? As far as spunk, as far as attitude, as far as delivery. And you see, don't do that. Don't go there. You're almost about to get off the track now.
did it, dude.
You're the one who redefined the word. I didn't.
You can't be saying spunk.
I just said it
like
again.
he's always gonna take the vine if you offer it up.
Touche.
Credit to him.
Tache.
Because that was hilarious.
But yeah, new album coming soon, featuring everybody you know. And hey, we might see some cha-cha sliding.
Get out of here.
We might be some Cupid shuffles. Salute to Israel Gutierrez.